Some Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now to discuss. General Keane, the optics were, just disappointing, for lack of a better word, with respect to President Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia. And now, of course, we'll get some different sort of optics. What's the main purpose for Vladimir Putin going to Iran?
Well, this has to do with the relationship that Russia's established with Iran, and also the relationship that both of those countries have with China. I mean, the reality that we're facing in the world today is that we have these three revisionist powers, China, Russia, and Iran, all who believe in their minds that their number one strategic adversary is the United States. So they have that in common. And they also want to change the international rules-based order that has existed since the end of World War II, something the United States had a lot to do in establishing, because they believe it squeezes them out from influence in the world, and they want to establish their own sphere of influence. So this visit, which I think Putin obviously had scheduled it after President Biden announced he was going to the Middle East. One of the reasons why Biden was going to the Middle East, because he knows full well that the Arabs and the Israelis believe that the Biden administration, since the inauguration, and they reached out to Iran, was moving away from the Middle East, much as the way Obama did for 8 years. And as a result of that, Russia and China were filling that vacuum. So given the fact that Biden went there as one of the reasons to shore up this relationship and push back against Russia and China, we find Putin going to Iran. Now, listen, they have a relationship that's been established for some time dealing with Syria. Iran propped up the Assad regime by providing the Hezbollah and tens of thousands of proxies and their own generals leading the ground war. And Russia came in a few years after that because Assad's air power was defunct, and Russia provided decisive air power to prop up the Assad regime. They have that in common. Now they're going to have in common is Iran is going to support Russia by giving them a couple of hundred drone technology, which they're very good at, to enable them certainly to accomplish the objectives that they're trying to achieve in Ukraine. It won't be decisive, but it's going to help them.
To that point, why is the West, why is it particularly the Biden administration still so insistent on the negotiations with Iran? I mean, they seem to be in a real awkward position here that was made even more awkward with the news of that drone deal.
Yeah, and also the fact that Russia is facilitating the negotiations is really quite extraordinary between the United States and the Iranians, and it's absolutely bizarre. Listen, the Biden administration, I think, fell into a huge strategic trap. They thought it would be in the best interest of the United States to back away from maximum sanctions on Iran, to back away initially from the Abraham Accords, which they are now supporting, but 18 months ago they were not, to also push back on the Arabs in the region and reach out to the Iranians and put the deal on the table pretty much the same as was in 2015, which blew up in all of our faces because they took the money and it contributed to the aggressive, malign behavior in the region. It makes no sense. They would obviously do the very same thing if they were flush with cash again. And so, I mean, this is a huge error that they made, and it's frustrated the Israelis and the Arabs to no end.
General Keane, I got a minute to go. And by the way, over the weekend, I read where the Supreme Leader said they actually have the ability to make a nuke now. In the financial world, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the resurrection of the acronym BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, China, you throw South Africa in there, and other nations saying they want to join that. Is there some sort of alternative, choreographed groupings of nations that will go along? We see India buying a lot of Russian oil, that are sort of pushing back on America's strength, America's preeminence, and that could ultimately pose a threat.
Well, absolutely. I mean, The reality is that China in particular has huge global influence as we speak, Russia less so, and so Iran considerably less. But China does. And the United States has got to be quite aggressive here in working with our own allies. One of the things the Biden administration has done in taking off and strengthening what Trump started, and that is working with our allies and partners, not only in the region, but other places in the world. We've got to do more of that. Yeah. We cannot take for granted old relationships when we're dealing with this behemoth that China is seeking to dominate the world economically, dominate technologically, militarily, and geopolitically. And they are about that every single day. And we've got to get organized and work with our allies and partners to push back.
General Keane, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.